Super important to know that when your blocking is so far from the final animation, so trying to hold on to it is a bad idea. You just need to be able to adjust on the move and be able to just, you know, if this is not working. I think I did a demo the other day for someone, and I had just, let's say the arc was going up and down this, and then I edited the front, which meant that up and down no longer works. So I had to change the up and down. I basically had to flip it or move it or something. But it just goes to show that what you start with is probably never what you're going to finish with. And you shouldn't try to hold on to it too tightly. So it's great that you've kind of learned that, and has enabled you to move forward a lot easier. When you say these is a very strong word. These, like it's quite quick. So your mouth movement, if you look, see how slow you're closing the mouth? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 5 to 6 frames to close the mouth, and they're all evenly spaced like this. So when you say these, you might actually think, I'm not sure exactly where on the word it would be, but this would kind of be the timing I would go for. You know, so basically you don't want to spend any time in the middle, because this is when it's going to get mushy and spliny and floaty. Whenever you spend too much time in the middle, that's when you get that awful look. So if you're quick, if this is pose A and this is pose B, this is what you want the viewer to read. You want them to see the A and the B. In this case, the TH and the E, the E's and S. So these are the two shapes that we need to understand in order to understand the word that she's just said. So anything in between is subtracting from these shapes. You know what I mean? They're just an in-between shape. So they should be designed nice, but they should try to be skipped at all costs. You know what I mean? Like because especially when you, like, this is okay because it's just one word, but when you have fast lip sync, you have to really choose which shapes you want to favor, and being able to move through shapes as quick as possible and as without looking like not real is a good idea. You don't want to spend too much time in the middle. So just take a look at that for that first word that you have there. You can make that a lot sharper, and just make sure you hit the shapes, and then we just want to see the E's in the shape. So this shape here is where we want to kind of see the E and the S, and then this is going to push it just a tiny bit out. So you'd probably hit this, and then you could just push it out just the tiniest bit, you know, just these, you know. Does that make sense? But it needs to be sharper, basically. So one of the things that we're seeing a lot in your animation is this kind of timing. So just based off the mouth and this head turn, basically. So you got to make sure you're doing because with the lip sync and the body movements, it's the same principle. If you spend too much time in these bits, it's going to be floaty and linear and boring, basically. But if you design the timing, basically you just need ins and outs, like slow in and slow out, and that's it. And then the space between here and here is where you kind of need to decide how fast you want something and how slow. If you need it slower, then you just add some more keys. If you need it faster, then you just remove keys. It's a really simple concept. I guess the more you do it, the more you will naturally be able to just do it. Like, for example, the way I animate, I think a good training that might help you is the way I like to animate, and Kevin Jackson taught me this, is you can do poses. Like, for example, you do all your poses at the start of the animation. Always depends on the shot to shot, for example. But let's say I've got a shot here and my dude's just standing here like this, and then the next frame is he's doing a jump, so he's going to bend down, right? And then the next one he's going to push off, a little dish, and then the next one is going to be a C for some reason, right? So these are my 4 poses. So normally when you're posing, you might pose this one and then move three frames along and pose this one, do a little ease, then this one. But you can do this on 1 frame, the 2nd frame, the 3rd frame, and the 4th frame. They don't have to be in time, because all you need to make sure is that these golden poses are perfect, not perfect, but reading, you know, close to perfect, like really design them. So, you know, make sure this pose looks sick, whatever pose you want, just make sure it's super beautiful. So it'll work by itself. Same with this one, design this one really, really good, like whatever you want to do, you know. So it's really nice. And then this one is super good, and this one is super good. So now all you need to do is decide the timing between these frames by moving them on the timeline. So you can just grab this, you set this one at 1, and then you grab the rest and you move it, and you're like, all right, that's enough time for this one. And then all you really need to do is add a bit of an ease, and then a bit of an ease, and this is the, you know, the time that you decide to get there, for example. So this might be on the 5th frame you're here, but you know, you've got a 2-frame ease, the 3rd frame is pretty fast, and then on the 4th frame, you're already there, and then maybe you got like a 2-frame ease, so let's say 6 or 7 frames, right? And then you've done this, and then this is fast, so you probably want to do it on the next 2 frames. You don't want to take 5 frames to get to this, because this is the lunge. So you might just have, you could have 1, or you might have 2, and you know, you just have the in-between like this, with your arms come up or something, you know, with your arc down. And then once you get there, you want to be like, all right, well, how much hang time do I want, and how do you want to do the C? And so once you have the poses, you just have to decide the time that it takes to get between the poses, right? And so with that method, it's really easy to not get this kind of timing where everything is like super linear and boring, because you're designing the timing as a separate thing. For example, you're not posing and timing at the same time, you're posing and then you're timing, so you can really focus on the timing. So keep that in your mind. Obviously we can't do it for this one because we're already done, but I think that's a good practice to be able to kind of design your timing a bit easier and avoid that kind of linear trap.